you. And they've been led here by Dr. Francis Guadalupe, and I want to say to you a welcome, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Now, by way of introduction, I'd like to say in this broadcast we'll be talking about tradition, cultural heritage in a multicultural society. Now, culture and ethnic diversity are an inevitable result of the massive numbers of migration of people around the world today, due to personal choice or sometimes unavoidable circumstances of life, such as war, famine, and persecution. For this reason, many societies around the world have become very mixed. There are divergent opinions and feelings about this global trend. To discuss this and what it could mean for every one of us, we have here this panel. I would like them to introduce themselves to you, starting with Francis himself, and then the rest of you in that order.
Good morning, audience, radio audience. It's a pleasure being here. My name is Francis Guadalupe. I work at the Department of Anthropology of the University of Amsterdam.
Okay.
Good morning. Thanks for listening. My name is Gladys Acom. I study cultural anthropology at the University of Amsterdam, and I'm a fourth-year student.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Angelo Oromskerk. I just graduated from a dance education.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Elise van der Kust. I also just graduated from a dancing college and also a dancer from Antwerp.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Tasneem Anwar, and I'm a student at the University of Amsterdam as well.
Thank you very much. With that out of the way, we would like to say, well, listeners, we want you to engage us as we proceed. Wherever you are, make sure you keep these young people busy, because they are here to keep you busy too. And the studio line, as usual, is 020-737-1619. Now, let me kick off by asking Gladys this question. We understand that you are the brain behind the organization Amsterdam United at the University of Amsterdam. What is this organization all about, and what is it aiming to achieve?
Well, the organization is brand new. Well, actually, I'm a member of Amsterdam United's board since a couple of months, and Tasneem Anwar started the organization together with Marieke Brand. She's a study counselor, and she's from the Master of Cultural Anthropology also. Together with Adkorf, unfortunately they couldn't be here. And this organization is concerned with diversity in the widest sense, and of the definition. We don't focus necessarily on a specific group, but we would like to attract a lot of different students from all backgrounds, and where we want to make sure that every student will feel at home at the University of Amsterdam. And we like to organize a wide range of activities to attract these students and to create a kind of home space in which we can experiment with diversity and confront other conflicting lifestyles, thoughts, and thereby also look critically to our own conceptions and to not take our own norms as self-evident.
Yeah. If you talk about diversity, in what context are you referring to that?
Diversity is, we don't have a workable definition. For us, it's very broad, like diversity in the sense of that we have students from all different studies and from different backgrounds. It's not like we don't want to make these categories like gender, ethnicity, because then these are the categories of the society, and we don't want to reproduce it. So we just we hope that students
So it's a very open forum then.
Yeah, it's really open. Yeah.
How do you coordinate it and make sure that you do something tangible and something interesting? Otherwise, you try to please everybody, and it's difficult, isn't it?
This is something that we heard a lot, but that's also we want to organize activities based on a certain theme. So, and I think also for me, I'm really interested in Africa diaspora issues and also slavery, but it's also interesting to do things that are not within the comfort zone. So, for example, Tasneem Anwar, she's more interested in Middle Eastern issues, and also when we organize activities, then I also get to learn more about all these issues that maybe I wouldn't go to these events myself. But when you're also with students that are very very interested in this, then you will engage in a dialogue which is really learnful. So that's also what we want to achieve, I think.
Okay, is anybody who is also in a part of Amsterdam United? Any of the students?
Yeah, I am.
Tashin, Okay, just tell us what is it about? What have you experienced so far? How has it impacted your life? And where do you think it's taking you?
Well, I founded the organization together.
Get closer to the microphone so we can hear you.
Together with Marika and of course. And I founded it because I felt that under the population of students from a different background than the Dutch background, it was a kind of feeling that they didn't feel at home at the university. And that's because they felt ignored by the board of the university. They did not really pay attention to the extra value they brought in with their different cultural background. So that's why I founded the organization to achieve more attention for people from a different background, because I think they add something extra to the university and to the atmosphere and the environment of the university. They have different experiences, they have different cultural values, and they have extra knowledge that other people in the mainstream culture don't have, and I think that's something really beautiful and special that needs to be honored instead of ignored. So that's the main reason why I founded the organization, and well, I got to know wonderful people with similar ideas or very different ideas that really enriched my knowledge about this topic. And what we hope to achieve is that we can create an environment within the university where everyone feels at home and everyone feels that everything they bring in from their home is something extra and something special, not something that is weird or different.
It's interesting you're mentioning that some students didn't feel quite at home, those from a different background. Look, Francois, he's been on the show before. He spoke about how diversified and multicultural that Amsterdam has been for many, many years. Way back in I don't know how many years ago. The 60s, and now it's even more diversified. So I'm surprised you're saying that on the campus, that atmosphere is not really, has not been acknowledged or accommodated. Some of you can react. Is it Elisa? Elisa and Angela, you can react as well. You can react to the remark I just made. Oh, Francois, yourself. No, yes.
I guess, Eliza, I'll react afterwards, but I guess he's asking you or Angelo, when you were doing your dance academy, did you feel that at the dance academy, so at this institution of higher learning, that there was space for your diverse being?
Yeah.
Well, yes and no. Well, when I started at my first year, we had African dance classes. And yeah, I was surprised because I never had African dance classes. So that was
what's your background? Are you from Africa?
No, I'm from Suriname.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm from Suriname. And yeah, so we did African dance classes, which was good, but other dance things, we don't really have the knowledge of the history of the dance. So that's what's the thing what was missing. Yeah, so it's a yes and a no. For me.
Okay.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And Angelo?
For me, I think there was this opportunity. I didn't feel like we missed a lot of things. We did several styles, and we did get some information about the backgrounds of all these several dance styles, but I think I agree with her if she when she said that the history classes it could be more, because now it was like we only got it in the first year, and yeah.
All right. Okay. I'm sure you're gonna add to what you just said earlier. Yeah. Now, just to kind of put this in the right place. I would like one of you to tell us the difference between tradition and culture, because we're looking at tradition and culture in a multi-ethnic society. So what's really the difference between tradition and culture? Will somebody attend that? Your students, so I'm sure you. What's the difference between tradition and culture?
It's a nice question. Well, it's a difficult one. I think that, of course, when we talk about traditions, people tend to separate tradition from nowadays, like the current society. For example, I also study West African dance styles, and then they like to talk about how traditional dance or traditional religions are separate from the current society. So then they make the separation. And I think that when you talk about culture, traditions are also part of it. That is what we see when we talk about the Zwarte Piet discussion, for example. That's the Dutch national identity tends to think that Zwarte Piet or Sinterklaas feast is a part of their tradition. So therefore, to exist as a culture, you need certain traditions to claim your identity.
Yeah. Okay, anybody wants to add, Francis, you want to add to that?
Well, I would say that tradition is another word for inheritance, your cultural inheritance.
Okay.
And if it is your inheritance, then you still actually have the choice, what are you going to do with that inheritance in the time that you are living right now. Culture is everything that you do to stay alive. So one of the things you do to stay alive is to deal with your inheritance. That's tradition. Certain things like cultural heritage is actually how you commemorate certain parts of your inheritance in certain forms. That's what cultural heritage is. So if you take these three things together and you say tradition is your cultural inheritance, culture is what you do to stay alive, and in staying alive certain things you cherish and those things you call your cultural heritage. I think that that is the trinity that you can deal with. And then in a society that is diverse, and if you take Amsterdam United, I think Amsterdam United would stand actually for saying diversity is being hospitable towards difference. That's what diversity is. And therefore you have, I would say, a set of themes that runs through Amsterdam United. One theme is there space in this extremely secularized society for religion? And if there's space for religion, how are we going to give space to religion and to people's religious affiliations at a university? Is there space for a university where we will have different generations living together? So people who are older, when they come to the university, do we have space for them, even if people think that the university is only a place for young people? That's a different type of notion of being hospitable. Is there space for people with various skin tones in a space of higher learning? So diversity is actually teaching people to be hospitable to differences that they are not accustomed to.
Exactly. That's it.
That to me is what it's about.
That's it.
I couldn't agree more. Okay, that said, let me ask what your take would be on the state of the tradition, cultural heritage, and the diversity in modern-day Holland. And how do you, through your organization, hope to make a difference? Is the question clear?
Yeah, the question is clear. Yeah. Well, when we talk about traditions, then I can also, again, give the example of Zwarte Piet. This is when we, as an organization, we really want to make sure that everyone's tradition is valued. So when we talk about Zwarte Piet, we understand that people feel it's really important to them to celebrate this Sinterklaas feast. So, but there are also people who are hurt by this feast. So at the University of Amsterdam, I think it's really important as upcoming academics to engage in a discussion with both parties and to have different points of view to learn from each other, and this will provide new insights. And I think it's really important to engage in this dialogue together. and the state of tradition in what was the question?
Yeah, the state of tradition, cultural heritage, and diversity in modern day Holland.
And what, yeah.
Yeah. What is your? I mean, let's say your. How would you? Yeah. I mean, how do you see it? You know, because it's an evolving situation. I mean, it's changing all the time.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
So, what is your? How do you view it? And where do you think it's going from here? You know, give us a general impression about that.
Well, I can only speak for myself, of course, but from my own experience, I'm from a mixed background. My father's from Ghana, my mother is Surinamese, and she's Dutch. And I grew up with a lot of different cultural influences, and I just take whatever I find interesting, and that's how I appreciate my cultural heritage. And also, when I'm in touch with other students from other backgrounds or other people that I get to know them. What I find interesting, I just study, and it doesn't need to be for my own, only for my own background, but also I like, for example, Muslim study, religion, of course, yeah. So it's just inspiring to know all these different cultures, and not only to enrich myself, like I only take and I absorb it, but it's also an issue of not approaching it as something exotic, but really not taking your own norms for granted, and that's really about when you talk about cultural heritage, important, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Who wants to add to that? Tasmin or Angelo and Eliza?
Well, I can agree with you, Gladys. But if I think about the Dutch traditions, one of the things they always say is they are so tolerant, because they have this idea from the golden age that they're so tolerant because there was openness of religion here and everyone could say everything they want without being prosecuted.
Yeah.
Unlike, for example, in Spain or in Portugal. And well, if you look at the society as it is now, it's actually more diverse than it was then, I think. However, the tolerance we have towards each other tends to be less, and we tend to live more in our own kind of category without looking to our neighbors who have maybe a different religion or different cultural background, and we think that our own values or standards are the best ones, and we don't tend to look to what other people have to give.
Yeah.
And that's something I think it's a pity to see that in Dutch society. Especially because when you look at initiatives that mix or bring people together, you see something really beautiful is created. And I think, just like Lali said, it's not just about seeing it as something exotic or something that is, needs to be researched, or no, you see it as something that's equal to you and that you can learn from each other. And I think that's something we have to work towards in this society, because we're not there yet. So if you say what's cultural heritage and tradition in this society, I think we have to change our cultural inheritance and tradition and to make it more of a mix of the society we are right now.
And at the University of Amsterdam, it's also not a reflection of the society. Like Amsterdam is super diverse. We have no ethnic majority. That's the issue now. And when you look at the University of Amsterdam, it's wide and middle-class university. So I really think that we should pay more attention to what other people can bring in. And the concept of tolerance is also really, I don't really agree with this concept, because it's also intolerant, because you have an imagined power to also not tolerate. And that's really, it's really interesting to study, because I think that the current state of tradition is in the Dutch society, what this means said, that the tolerance is not,
It's not really up to.
It's not really up to the, because then you get the issue of integration, and they force migrants to assimilate without, they have the right to keep their traditions and what they think is important to them, because it will really help them in a society to deal with issues like, I think, empowerment, for example. Like the dance group Untold Empowerment is really busy with empowering especially black youth, and to let them deal also with discrimination and other forms of exclusion in society.
There is a talk about having building a more inclusive society. I believe you want to see that reflected on campus. How do you feel, Elisa and Angelo? About what they're saying. How do you feel? Obviously, you have a background that is not native Dutch, if I may put it that way. You may have been born here, but still, you are mixed. Okay, but how do you feel this sort of feel like not being a part of the mainstream, Dutch society, so to speak? Do you feel that you have to do something extra to be accepted and to be recognized for who you are, and not because of the way you look? I hope I've been a bit blunt here, but okay, that's the best way I can put it right now. Do you think something has to change? Do you feel that you're not really, don't feel part or accepted in society the way it's supposed to be? You're supposed to be.
Yes, I think so, but I think it's also because it started with ourselves. I think we need to accept ourselves and our backgrounds before we can say this is who we are, so that people can accept us. And I'm not talking for everybody, so some people are accepting themselves and speaking for themselves, and that's good, but I think we need to do that as one united group. Everybody needs to do that so that we can accept each other, and that there is no separation. So I can say, I am a Surinamese people, so I am better or whatsoever. Just we need to accept ourselves, and let's start.
Okay, Angela, you want to?
Yeah. Well, for me, I don't feel like I have to do because I'm mixed as well. I'm born and raised in Amsterdam, but my parents are born in Suriname, and I don't feel I've never had the feeling that I have to do something extra to fit in the society. But I do know that it still exists, and maybe it's because I'm raised in Amsterdam, because I don't have the feeling that in Amsterdam there's a lot of racism or discrimination. Well, not if you compare it with the rest of Holland. And when people are asking me where are you from, I rather say from Amsterdam than Holland, because there's a huge difference between Amsterdam and the rest of the Netherlands.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah. So
It's true. Yes, continue.
Yeah, go ahead. You were saying something very important. Go ahead. There's a difference when people say they're from Amsterdam and when they say they're from Holland. Can you throw some more light? What is that difference?
The difference is there's a lot of diversity in Amsterdam. It's multicultural, and for example, I did a dance education, and at my school it was a class with mixed people. Everyone was, well, most of the people were from Holland, but they had mixed backgrounds. So those who love the cultural things, the dance and those things, trying to trace the roots and what have you, are they mainly those who are mixed? What about the native Dutch people? They're not interested in things like that? They do.
They do.
Because it's...
So the dance group, you have native Dutch people?
The native Dutch people...
You have them in the dance group?
Yeah, even the native Dutch people. I mean, like I said, it's like really mixed, because nobody is, and I think it's something artistic, because nobody is looking at colors, and everyone is looking at each other's potential and talent.
Yeah.
With dance, it's all about expressing yourself. So people are not, they are really open-minded. They're not shallow, and I think that's something that's really in Amsterdam, and in the rest of Holland is more. I mean, I've traveled around Holland, and there is a huge difference. I feel the difference. I feel that I have to do more somewhere else than in Amsterdam. In Amsterdam, I feel like it feels safe.
Like home to you.
It feels like home. But when you go to another city, it can feel really different because not every city in Holland is the same.
Okay, so then in the Untold, what's it? Untold Amsterdam, Untold United, Untold Empowerment. Yeah, okay, that's a dance group. Okay, so with that, you're trying to bring out a message. You're trying to, achieve something.
It's an organization, and I think they're trying to give people a message, because it's all about cultural heritage. It's more about the Black history. They want to give the youth the knowledge about their history. And for me, the reason why I am in this group is because I think that at school we don't get a lot of history of Black history. And I mean, slavery, Holland was a huge part if you talk about slavery. And so I was really curious about how everything was. And Untold was actually an opportunity for me to get all this knowledge and to deepen myself into this history about slavery, and not only about slavery but also about everything that's it's changing in a positive way, like West African dance, how it went to Suriname, and how that style developed in something else, and where things are coming from. So they, Untold, the organization, they have a message, and I think that for the members, I think they joined the group to get all this knowledge, because this is a huge opportunity to deepen yourself into your roots and where things are coming from.
Very well said. I enjoyed the answer. Well, if you're listening to us in this program, you would like to interact with us, please give us a call on 0207371619. Ask any question you have in mind, or any remark you want to pass is most welcome. Let's just get into this issue about the Zwart discussion. And one of you made a remark about okay, we're living in a diverse society, and we've got to be tolerant, but the tolerance is really up to a limit. Okay, and that people have their values and their cultures and their traditions and what have you. So to tolerate, we must respect everybody's values. All right. Now, when we talk about this Zwart this whole drama which is playing out in Holland, of course, the judgment was given in Amsterdam at the court that they were going to proceed the way it used to be.
Yes,
except for
but you will not have a golden ring.
But what I don't understand is what difference does the golden earrings make in this whole thing?
Nothing.
So if the judge says, well, let it go on without the golden earrings, what is he trying to say? I don't understand.
Well, they say we changed something, so please be quiet about it. Yeah. I think that's exactly their message. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. But do you accept that sort of judgment? Do you think it's really it's meaningful?
No, because they had a talk with the community, the activists, Quincy Gario, I think, and also Knowledge Caesar. They are part of, not only Knowledge is part of the movement Black Penis Racism, together with a lot of other activists. And they had a conversation about this issue for more than a year, I guess. And the change now is that they will drop the golden earrings. It's like, it's not the issue. It's way bigger than this. So I don't think that anybody would be happy with this change. Like, people say, okay, it's step by step. First the golden earrings, maybe then a blackface, but yeah, it's going way too slow, I think. Okay, but
what would you really have changed in this whole thing, this whole celebration? What do you think should change, Gladys? And then I want to get the perspective of the rest of you.
The class has to move along.
I would change the blackface.
Yeah.
And also they have to adjust the whole tradition.
What should be done about the blackface?
Well, the blackface is the main issue. Now, it's not like, I mean, it's part of the tradition. It's really racist, and people associate this blackface with black people.
Exactly.
Because I heard a lot of statements from people that were saying, well, in the December month, and all the children, they call me Black Pete when I walk in the streets. And it's a clear reminder of the slave food past. And I really think that we should also focus more on what it says about our society. Like, racism is not discussable, because when you look at the conversation and discussions on maybe on internet or anywhere else, people are really showing their true colors, maybe. Because if you're saying something about why you're hurt because of this feast and the blackface and everything else, then they say, well, go back to your country, and then you say the N-word, but I'm not racist. So I think we should really discuss also why it's not discussable, because that is the most important question.
Exactly.
Yeah, so, yes, Angela, Eliza, what would you like to, of course, Francis too, what would you, what do you think should change about this celebration? Is it that you want the whole to scrap, or something should be modified somewhere?
I mean, Santa Claus can move without Zwart Pete. Otherwise, let them have a white Pete then. White Pete.
Instead of Zwart Pete. Okay, that's another idea.
Well, first of all, I want to say that the golden earrings, that they just put that away, I think it's kind of disrespectful, because it's like, oh, we need to shut up right now because they already changed one thing, and what do we need to do to change the whole thing, or not the whole thing. The party is okay, but I think the faces and the red lips and the hair is just, you know, it can hurt people, and the fact that it's hurting not a couple of people, but many of people, is we need to fight it with positivity. But I think most of the people are fighting it with their ego, so we're not listening to each other. And I don't know, it's difficult, because if I say yes, I'm hurt, and they say, yeah, you know, you need to shut up, go to your own country, what do we need to do to make a change, you know? And the change is, I don't know.
I think they should change the whole image of Black Pete, because we have to ask ourselves, why are we celebrating this feast? And I think it's about the kids. I think we're celebrating this party for the kids, and I mean, if Black Pete is affecting people, and we change the image. Like we have a green pea, a pink pea, the yellow, in all colors, and I mean, for the kids, the party won't change at all. I mean, they're loving this party, they're loving this feast, because they're getting presents, you know. So whether they get it from a white, a pink, a green, a blue one, they're gonna be happy anyway. So, I mean, what's the big deal? Just change the image of Black Pete, and everybody is happy, because we still have this feast. The kids are happy, and nobody is affected anymore. You know, I think that the respect is the word in this whole situation. You know, whether Black Pete is racism or not, it's all about the respect, because even if you know or don't know if it's racism, you can still think of the people who are affected by this, by Black Pete. I'm like, I don't know if Black Pete is racism, although I think that the image is wrong. But I don't know if Black Pete is racism. But I do think that if you change the image, nothing will change in a negative way. I mean, everything is gonna be more positive, actually. You know, so if you have respect for each other, then just change the image. That's all, you know. And I mean, it's for the kids. They just want to have their presents.
Very well said. Thank you very much. That's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah, Angelo, you want to say something?
Yeah, I think a whole lot has been said in this whole thing. I think if we step back a bit, because stepping back would help us understand what is going on a bit better. Everyone, because this is not a discussion right now, this is actually people insulting one another to and fro. A discussion would actually be that we stop talking about facts and start to talk about truthfulness. If you are truthful, then you're accurate and you're sincere. These two things. So some people say we want to celebrate Sinterklaas and Zwarte Piet, and they say Zwarte Piet is black, and they use a mythical argument. He came down a chimney and he became black.
Imagine
a mythical argument is not an argument based upon fact, because you can never find a person who came down the chimney.
Yeah,
a
exactly.
mythical argument is never about facts. So the only way you deal with a mythical argument is to say, okay, how are you being truthful to that myth? And that means, are you being sincere, and are you being accurate, and can I hold you accountable?
Yeah.
The moment you show me that you're not using this mythical argument correctly, because you're calling other people the N-word, and you're calling them Zwarte Piet, and you're associating it with a certain ethnic group, that means that you're not using that mythical argument correctly, and you're being untrue.
Yeah.
You're being untrue.
Exactly.
That to me is the way we should speak about this issue. Then there's a historical argument. The historical argument says Zwarte Piet, which was a helper of Sinterklaas, became black around the time that slavery was being abolished. The 1930s, 50s, but that's the time the British was abolishing slavery. So at that moment in time we got into a kind of racial order. In order to make people believe that it was natural to have differences between human beings, you saw in popular culture certain things emerge. One of the things is Zwarte Piet. Therein, in that historical fight, because history is never actually finished, in that historical fight, people have been busy trying to change this figure. I think that Knowledge, Quincy, and Raoul, there you see a mix of someone actually of Antillean background, Quincy Gario, Knowledge, someone of West African background, Raoul Balai, someone of Surinamese background, together, and this is interesting because it is a multicultural coalition, coming together and saying, we want this thing to change. Zwarte Piet used to be a figure that would beat kids. That has transformed itself. There was a time in which little kids could not dress up in blackface. Nowadays you see little kids also dressing up in blackface. There was a time in which Zwarte Piet only could speak with a Surinamese accent. Now people are learning Zwarte Piet should not speak with a Surinamese accent, because if it is a mythical argument, he came down the chimney, then I want you to be truthful, and I want you to be sincere, and have the person speak correct Dutch, or have him speak Spanish if he actually came from Spain.
Exactly, exactly.
Then we're being clear about the matter. And then there's this new move to actually get away from the earrings, and I learned from my grandmother, whenever you get a gift, accept it. So therefore I take the gift and I say thank you, but perhaps we need more changes. Thank you for this gift. What other gifts are you going to give me for us to live together in a kind of harmony? I think that if we can start to have this discussion in that way and say, be truthful, whether you're using a mythical argument or a historical argument, be truthful, then we can actually speak to one another, and we can have a dialogue about how we're going to live together. And this is not a togetherness, because multiculturality is not about unity in diversity. Because you're always going to have one that's going to be the dominant one in unity and diversity. Multiculturality is about thinking we have various cultural expressions. How are we going to translate these expressions to one another? Multiculturality is about translating. Continuously translating the various cultural expressions to one another. And then you can say, this society is special, its style, it's different, because this is how we translate things in this society. And we can then translate mythical arguments and religious arguments based upon that thing that we can hold each other accountable. So if you say something, I'm going to hold you accountable and see whether you're doing it. So if you say, I want Zwarte Piet to be black, but this has nothing to do with black people, this has to do with the man coming down the chimney. Then I say, okay, then I want you to teach that to your kids, and the moment that your kids behave in a certain way, I want you to correct those kids. And the moment too many people are doing it, I want to hear you aloud saying this is wrong. Then we are busy transforming and doing something that our kids can be proud of us about. This, I think, is the kind of society we need to build. the type of translations in which we are truthful to one another. I believe then we are talking about the issue, because right now we seem to be just insulting one another. Also the question of tolerance. Tolerantie, but English has a wonderful way of doing things. The English have tolerance and toleration. Toleration is what you have in the Netherlands. Toleration is when you can manage someone's difference. Tolerance, in English, when you're a tolerant person, you're a person that is not so preoccupied with something which is very strange to you. That's what it means to be a tolerant person. A person that tolerates is a person that is too dominant. Is a person that says, I want to manage your difference so that it's not a problem for me. So then I would say, again with truthfulness, then really be tolerant. Really be not so concerned with my difference. Then you're showing me that you're really a tolerant person that is willing to change in the exchange. That's tolerance. But toleration is something that I think is a management tool of government, and it's terrible when management tools of government become things that people actually do in their day-to-day life.
But don't you think that maybe people are overreacting to this issue? I mean, like this Zwarte Piet issue. I mean, people maybe trying to like, what's the expression?
Stand on that to do something.
Let's say they're making a bigger issue out of it than it's supposed to be. People have become maybe unnecessarily sensitive to what ought not to be a big deal. If you talk about insults, we insult ourselves anyway, directly or indirectly, you know, over little things, over big things. So why should we make a big deal about this?
Well, I think that the only way you're going to have a multiculturality and a society that's multicultural, if people can translate continuously their cultural expressions, is that you take one value seriously. And everyone has to take that value seriously. And that is what makes us human, is that we can be hurt. Pain and humiliation are things that we cannot accept. So which means that if someone says, I'm humiliated, I feel pain, then you can recognize that, hey, wait a minute, what makes me human is also that I can feel pain and humiliation too. So how are we going to adjust this thing so that you don't have pain and humiliation? That means that even if you want to celebrate that party, and I recognize that there are people who celebrate for all types of reasons, then I say, okay, celebrate it. I might even help you celebrate it. But I want to make sure that when you celebrate it, that there will not be pain and humiliation for others. So if you want to be a school teacher in school and celebrate it, then celebrate it in such a way that you will not say, Black Peter are people of sub-Saharan African descent.
Yes.
No, Black Peter is not people of sub-Saharan African descent. Then you're being true to the festivity, to your tradition, and I can deal with that. That, I think, is the consequence. We need to instill that value of people can be hurt, and humiliation and pain have to be intolerable in any kind of society that you're building, especially a multicultural one.
Wow.
Well said. I want us to take a short break and then we'll be back to finish everybody with a closing word, alright? Thank you so much. It's been exciting so far.